Hi everyone, I just want to make a quick mention that I recorded the next several episodes prior to coronavirus pandemic. I know that it's a tough time for all of us. I do hope that you'll find time to relax and hopefully get a sense of normality by watching my weekly episodes. And in the meantime, be safe and stay healthy. Hi, this is Pam Didner. Welcome to another episode of B2B Marketing and More with Pam. In the past two episodes, I talk about artificial intelligence, and that's because I have written a book for a marketer to explain in terms of how marketers can leverage AI for their effort. So I touch a bit in terms of the definition, the marketing specific benefits, and one specific episode I also mentioned multiple different use cases. And today I want to talk about data's role in AI marketing. And obviously in the past two episodes I talk about the magic of AI is what mighty AI can do. But really before that all the magic can happen, that you need to actually have a solid and clean and high quality data set. Because AI is really about machine learning, that you need to feed data into the model and to train the model so the machine can learn. And with that being said, your data needs to be fairly solid. Case to point is back in 2018, Amazon actually discreetly, very quietly scrapped their AI recruiting tools. That's because the data they used was based on all the resumes that were submitted in the past 10 years into Amazon database, right? Guess who's actually applying jobs in Amazon, which is the tech industry? Majority of them are males. So that data they feed into it created a bias against women. So the prediction or the screening process that say a female has to go through, they tend to get screened out. So with that being said, they feel that the AI model doesn't provide a very objective decision in terms of overall screening. And I 100% agree with that. They understand that, so they scrap the whole tool. So with that being said, you understand that the data that you provided have a certain level of bias, will do, right? Because the data that we feed into it reflect who we are and how we use those data. And a lot of time you have to actually annotate the data or label the data so that the machine can actually read. So the annotation part of it is super critical. And when I was reading some blog posts, and they basically suggested that if you have internal annotators that actually label the data, it doesn't hurt to actually have an outside consultant to look into a data to make sure that the bias is minimized. I don't think you can 100% mitigate the bias, but you can mitigate them. And so the annotations and also labeling is very important. Another thing that you can do with the data is to actually make sure that you test different data sets and to run through your modeling process and to see how the outcome is. So basically that you have multiple different data sets and coming from different sources, and you can feed into the data and then compare the results. The data part of it is incredibly time consuming to try to get it right, and you need to actually take quite a bit of time to work with your internal team and to build some sort of quality assurance process, which is not a word that we use all the time as a marketer, quality assurance, right? So when you are working with your internal team to build an AI model, or external team, if you will, that when you are looking to a data, you need to make sure that you have a quality assurance process in place to determine the quality of data and also the labeling. And all these process does take quite a bit of time to make sure that you get it right. So to build any kind of AI model takes time and effort, and also takes time to actually look into your data and to make sure your data quality is at par, and you have to determine and define what that is. This is just one thing I want to share with you in terms of if you are working on the AI part of things, you need to pay attention to a quality of data. So that is pretty much what I want to share today. I hope that you find it useful in terms of data quality management. If you are actually working on any kind of AI building and then you have specific insight to share, please let me know. I would love to showcase you and your thoughts on my podcast or the video. If you like the content, please subscribe below. And if you have any questions, please send an email to me, hello@pamdidner.com. Love to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Bye.